An Indian Air Force Tejas light combat aircraft has crashed during a flight display, resulting in the loss of the pilot. This is a significant and somber moment for military aviation. What exactly went wrong? Was this a mechanical failure in India's indigenous fighter, or a maneuver pushed beyond the limit? And what does this mean for the future of India's aerospace ambitions on the global stage? The crash of a modern fighter jet at a major international air show is a rare and shocking event. But the details emerging from Al Maktoum International Airport suggest a specific, high-risk maneuver may be at the center of this investigation. A negative G push turn at low altitude. Today we are going to break down the physics of that maneuver, look at the Tejas's operational history, and ask the hard questions about what this blow means for Hindustan Aeronautics Limited as they try to sell the upgraded Mark 1A to the world. Let's look at the facts as they stand. The Dubai Airshow, held in the United Arab Emirates, was in its final operational days. The Indian Air Force had brought its indigenous Tejas Mark I fighter to display its capabilities to a global audience. According to reports from the ground and statements from the Indian Air Force, the incident occurred around 2 p.m. local time. The aircraft was in the middle of a low-altitude performance display. Airshow routines are rigorously practiced. They are a carefully choreographed dance of energy management and precision flying. However, they also happen in the hard-deck danger zone, low to the ground, where the margin for error is effectively zero. Visuals and witness accounts describe the pilot attempting a maneuver that appears to be a negative G push turn. For those unfamiliar with air combat maneuvering, let's break that down. In a standard turn, a pilot pulls back on the stick, increasing G-forces and using the lift of the wings to turn the aircraft into the turn. A push turn is the opposite. The pilot pushes the stick forward, inducing negative G, the feeling of being lifted out of your seat, to pitch the nose down and turn the aircraft. It is a disorienting and physically demanding maneuver, often used to rapidly change the nose position or to enter a dive from level flight without rolling inverted first. The report indicates that the Tejas performed this push turn toward the crowd line, a standard display profile maneuver, but failed to roll out and recover. The jet descended rapidly and impacted the ground. The Indian Air Force has confirmed the pilot was killed. This is the primary tragedy here, the loss of a highly trained professional. The IAF released a statement saying the pilot sustained fatal injuries in the accident. IAF deeply regrets the loss of life and stands firmly with the bereaved family in this time of grief. A court of inquiry has been constituted, which is standard procedure to determine the exact cause. To understand the implications, we must understand the machine. The aircraft involved was not a prototype. It was a production standard Tejas Mark I in the full operational capability configuration. The Tejas program, managed by the Aeronautical Development Agency and manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, is India's flagship project to achieve self-reliance in defense technology. It is a delta-wing, single-engine, multi-role light fighter designed to replace India's aging fleet of MiG-21. The FOC designation is critical. The first 20 Tejas jets built were initial operating capability standards. These were essentially the early adopters, cleared for basic operations. The subsequent 20 jets, including the one that crashed in Dubai, are FOC standard. This means they have expanded flight envelopes, beyond visual range missile capabilities, air-to-air refueling, and updated software. This was a mature airframe, it wasn't an experimental testbed. The fact that an FOC jet crashed suggests that we are looking at either a catastrophic mechanical failure, such as a flight control system lockup or engine failure at a critical moment, or a pilot error induced by the high-stress environment of a low-level display. Historically, the Tejas has had a remarkable safety record. In fact, until very recently, it had a spotless record. The first ever crash of a Tejas occurred only recently, in March 2024, in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. In that incident, the pilot safely ejected and the crash was attributed to an engine seizure. That means in over 2 decades of development and operational service, the Tejas had flown thousands of sorties without a hull loss until 2024. Now we have 2 crashes in relatively quick succession. For a program that prides itself on safety and reliability, This is a concerning trend that investigators will be scrutinizing closely. While we must wait for the official court of inquiry, we can analyze the vulnerabilities of the maneuver described. A negative G pushover at low altitude is unforgiving. If the pilot pushes too hard, the ground rushes up incredibly fast. If the fly-by-wire system, the computer that interprets the pilot's inputs, limits the control authority to prevent structural damage or a stall, the pilot might find themselves unable to pull out of the dive in time. The Tejas uses a quadruplex digital fly-by-wire system. It is statically unstable, meaning without the computer making micro-adjustments thousands of times a second, the plane would flip out of control. In a display routine, the pilot is often fighting the alpha limiter of the software. If the engine failed, as it did in the March 2024 crash, during a high-energy maneuver, the loss of hydraulic pressure or electrical power to the flight control surfaces could be instantaneous, though backup systems should theoretically engage. However, at 500 feet or below, theoretical backup time is often longer than the time to impact. Conversely, G-force-induced loss of consciousness is less likely in a negative G maneuver, but red out is a real danger. Negative G drive blood into the head and eyes, potentially causing the pilot's vision to turn red and leading to incapacitation. If the pilot experienced a severe red out during the push, they may have lost situational awareness for the split second needed to recover. Beyond the tragedy of the lost life, this crash is a geopolitical and industrial disaster for India. The Dubai Airshow is not just a fun weekend outing, it is a strategic marketplace. India has been aggressively marketing the Tejas, specifically the upcoming Mark 1A and Mark 2 variants, to foreign buyers. The Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia are prime target markets for a cost-effective, modern light fighter. Having your flagship export product crash in front of the very delegations you are trying to sell to is the worst-case scenario for any defense manufacturer. The Tejas Mark 1A, which is currently entering production, is a significant leap forward. It features an LTIA ELM 2052 active electronically scanned array radar, advanced electronic warfare suites, and better maintainability. India placed a massive order for 83 of these jets in 2021, with production running through 2028. The marketing pitch for the Tejas has always been, it's light, it's agile, it's modern, and it's safe. This crash pierces that narrative. Potential buyers like Egypt, Argentina, or the Philippines will now be asking hard questions about the platform's reliability and the IAF's training protocols. In this shark tank of global arms sales, perception is reality. A crash signals instability, whether that is fair or not. So, where does the Tejas program go from here? First, the fleet will likely be grounded or placed under flight restrictions pending the preliminary findings of the inquiry. This is standard procedure. Second, HAL will face intense pressure to identify the failure point. If it is a software glitch in the flight control laws, a fleet-wide patch will be required. If it is an engine issue, it could lead to discussions with General Electric. However, history shows that great aircraft often suffer public tragedies. The F-16, the F-14, the Gripen all have crashed at air shows or during testing. The Gripen famously crashed twice during its development, public displays due to pilot-induced oscillation. Sweden fixed the software and the Gripen became a successful export fighter. The crash is a setback, but it is unlikely to be the end of the Tejas. The Indian Air Force is too committed. With the MiG-21 retiring and the delays in other programs, the Tejas is the backbone of the IAF's future light fighter capability. The production of the Mark 1A will continue, and the development of the Mark 2 will proceed. But the shadow of Dubai will hang over the program. The confidence of the export market is fragile. India will need to conduct a transparent, fast, and honest investigation. If they can prove this was a specific, isolatable error, human or technical, and fix it, they can recover. If they bury the findings or if it reveals a systemic flaw in the design, the dream of exporting the Tejas may have crashed along with the airframe. The loss of a pilot is the ultimate price paid in the pursuit of national defense and aviation excellence. As we analyze the geopolitics and the engineering, we must not forget the human element. The Tejas Mark I crash at Dubai is a stark reminder that military aviation, even in the controlled environment of an airshow, is inherently dangerous. It is a collision of high-speed physics, complex engineering, and human endurance. For India, this is a moment of reckoning. The Make in India initiative has faced a harsh reality check on the world stage. How New Delhi and HAL respond to this tragedy with transparency or defensiveness will determine whether the Tejas rises from the ashes or remains grounded by doubt. We will be monitoring the Court of Inquiry's findings closely. As soon as technical details on the cause of the crash are released, we will bring you an update. What do you think? Is this a fatal blow to the Tejas export ambitions or just a tragic hurdle in the development of a modern fighter? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.